So it's the middle of the day, and I hadn't really planned on doing this, but I've got a canner that I'm waiting to come up to steam, and so that's going to take a few minutes. And I thought I'd just sit down, refill my coffee, and I want to tell you about three miracles that happened in my life because they have a common thread, and they all happened within a year or two of each other. So it's the miracle of the cinnamon, of the syrup, and of the $100 bill. When my husband and I got married, we were in our mid-50s. We'd both been married before, and it was a very odd experience for me to be getting married because I had been married to my first husband for 36 years, 2 months and 4 days. Not that anybody's counting, but that's how long. Can't tell you how many hours. I didn't figure that out. But I had spent more than half my life with one man, and so it just was very different for me, and there was a lot of adjustment. But still, I wanted to make him happy. I wanted to please him. I wanted to do things right. And so I had some of that kind of the nervous bride. It was very different in my mid-50s from when I got married the first time. I was barely 18. And so like 18 in a month. But when Marvin and I got married, he worked for a harvest company in farming, in agriculture. And so we had to get up really, really early, like in the middle of the night, the wee hours of the morning. We'd get up and we had a routine worked out, and he'd get ready, and I'd pack his lunch and make him his bowl of oatmeal before he went to work, and get the news on so we could see what the weather was going to be for, because there was like a 5 o'clock weather report or something. So anyway, we'd get it all set. And sometimes he could stay long enough to see the weather, and sometimes he had to be gone before that. It just depended on if it was winter hours or they were harvesting. So this particular morning, I'm getting everything ready, and he liked to have, he still does, a little bit of cinnamon and a little bit of vanilla in his oatmeal. And so I fixed his oatmeal, and when I went to put the cinnamon in, there was no cinnamon. The cinnamon container was empty. So I looked up in my cabinet to see if maybe I had an extra thing of cinnamon, and I didn't. There was I took everything out of the cabinet, put everything back in. There was no cinnamon. And so I'm looking at that cabinet and no cinnamon. And I said, Lord, I know this isn't a need. It's more of a want. But I know that I can close this cabinet door, and then you can put cinnamon in there, and I'll open the cabinet door, and the cinnamon will be there, and I'll have it to fix Marvin's oatmeal the way he likes it. Because I know you can do it, because you've done things like that for me before. So I closed the door. I opened the door, and there was a bottle of cinnamon sitting right there up front. Not just any cinnamon. It was a very expensive brand of cinnamon. Not something I would buy. So that's important. It's not like something I bought and overlooked and just didn't happen to see it the first time. No, I would never have bought. This kind of cinnamon costs like 4 times, or it did back then. It's probably more than that now, but 4 times what the generic stuff would cost. There's no way. I always bought the generic. So not only that, but this brand of cinnamon came with a clear safety seal on it. Only this safety seal was red. So I was all excited and pumped and fixing his oatmeal and telling him what just happened. And he's like, really, and I don't know. He probably thought I just overlooked it. So that was the miracle of the cinnamon. Then another time I was making him breakfast for dinner in that first year, again, wanting to please him, wanting to secure my position as his wife. It kind of feels that way in the beginning, doesn't it? And so anyway, I was going to surprise him when he got home and have breakfast for dinner, because he loves that. I don't like breakfast. I don't like it for dinner, lunch, anytime. All that breakfast food, just not my thing. But I love my husband, and he likes that, and so I wanted to please him. So I fixed him up all this, and I had made him pancakes. And so I went to get the syrup, and there was no syrup. I looked in the pantry, and it's like, oh, that's right, we're out. And there it was on my refrigerator, sitting on the grocery list that I needed to pick it up, and I hadn't been to the store yet. So I shut that pantry, and I said, Lord, I know this is asking a lot, but I know you can do it. I would really like it if you would provide me with some syrup because I can't go get any. He's going to be here soon and I need to have the syrup to make this meal right. Because for him, if there's no syrup, what's the point in the pancakes, right? So I had closed the cabinet where I kept my pantry items. I opened it up and there sat a big bottle right up front of his favorite syrup. And the thing with this is that syrup comes with a white lid on it, but this syrup, it had a gold lid. When he got home, he even said, I've never seen it come with a gold lid. And we've looked before, we've never seen it with a gold lid, but that one had a gold lid. And I think the red seal and the gold lid were just, little signatures that God put there saying, see, this is what I did. You didn't overlook it. You're not imagining things. It's me. And so I had the miracle of the syrup. And the reason I had the faith for the miracle of the cinnamon and the miracle of the syrup was because what God had done a year or two earlier, a couple years earlier. I had tried to help a gal out that was in need, and she ended up robbing me. So I had most of my money at that time in cash at home, and she and her friends cleared that out, took any jewelry I had of any value, and just really cleaned me out. And I was starting with nothing, and I didn't have much to begin with. And I remember, my parents, being all concerned if I was going to be okay, and did they need to help me? I'm like, no, God's going to take care of me. It's going to be okay. And so I had some friends that were coming over that evening, and I think we were having a little Bible study in there. And so I'm, cleaning up in the living room. And at that time, I would have my quiet time out on the corner of my couch in the living room because I lived alone. So, I had privacy wherever I was in the house, and that was a comfortable place for me. And so I had my treasure box there. Now, my treasure box, which I would show it to you, except that's what's holding my phone right now. It's my camera stand. But it's a purple box, but it's transparent. You can see through it, and it holds 3x5 cards. And so it was sitting there because I always keep my treasure box and my Bible and my prayer journal and stuff right, where I go and have my quiet time with God, which is right here, right now. I'm moving into another space in the house, but it's quite a big job. So I don't know how long it's going to take till I get in there, but one day the scene will change. And I'll have a more private place to sit and be with the Lord and be with you. But at that time, it was in the living room, and I dusted everything. I even opened my treasure box, as I often do, and pulled a verse out and read it and was encouraged by it and put it back in. And then I went back to dusting everything else on the table, and I had picked up the treasure box to dust under it, and I could have swore I could see money in the top of that treasure box on the inside. But there wasn't any money in there. I had just opened it and taken a card out. And I was like, what in the world? Now, I needed $100 to take care of an expense that I had coming up. And I was trusting God to provide that $100. Now, my dad just wanted to give me the money, and I was like, no, Dad, I really believe, because I'm going to make it on my own. And I'm an old woman. I got to make it on my own, and I believe God's going to take care of it. But you know what? If God doesn't do it, and I know that you're there for me, but I just want to give God a chance because I know He'll take care of me. And God's been teaching me that for a lot of years, that I can trust Him. And so I opened up that treasure box, and laying right on top of those cards, not stuck in the lid or anything, but laying down on top of those cards was a crisp, brand new $100 bill. So when everybody got there that night, I laid that bill out on the table, and I said, and here's what happened. And, for a while after that, there were times I needed things because I was trying to rebuild my money. I had money put back to pay my car insurance. It was gone. Money to pay my lot rent. It was gone. I mean, whatever it was that I needed, that money was gone. I mean, they cleaned me out. And so anyway, so as finances came up, and I didn't have enough income to cover it yet, because I always put a little bit back each month so that when some of those big bills come due, I've got the money for them, right? And that was all gone. So I would just tell the Lord what I needed. And I'm telling you, my house started growing money. There was nobody else there. Nobody had been there. And it would be in places that I'd just been cleaning or whatever. And then there it would be. And so God took care of me. Now, my dad got all funny and wanted to be a blessing. My dad had Alzheimer's already at that point. And so he did sometimes some kind of off the wall things that he normally wouldn't have done. And so he and my mom came over one day, and he's like, I need to use your bathroom. I'm like, they just lived, just two streets over. And, and I was like thinking, so you came over here, something wrong with your guys' bathrooms? And he's like, no, I just need to use your bathroom. I'm like, well, that's fine. It's right over there. And my mom's talking to me, and it's like she's trying to distract me and all. And so my dad, he comes out and he's all acting like a little kid that's proud of himself, like they just did something. And so after they left, I went into that bathroom to see what was going on. Well, when there was like a $10 bill rolled up in the toilet paper roll, and the towel that you to dry my hands had like a 20 stuck up on it, and there was a 5 in the medicine cabinet. It was money all over the bathroom. So I called my dad up. I go, you left money in my bathroom. He's like, I don't know what you're talking about. I go, Dad, I know the difference between you and God. And so then he's like, yeah, I just wanted to be part of the blessing. But anyway, I just, my husband was looking for some boards that he thought he had and he doesn't have. And so he's like, I'll have to go to the store and get them. And I had said, oh, but remember the cinnamon and the $100 bill and remember the syrup, you could just, because he had just looked in one of his little outbuildings. I go, you could just shut the doors. God could put it in there, open the doors, and there it'll be. So he hasn't come back in yet. So maybe that's happened. I don't know. But if it has, you'll hear about it. Anyway, I just wanted to share with you guys those things. They were a big deal when they happened, but I've got to hurry because I've got a canner waiting on me. But I just wanted to make sure that I shared that with you, because I want you to know that I'm nobody special, not even close. Well, I might be a little special sometimes, but I'm not special. God doesn't love me any more than he loves anybody else, including you. He doesn't care about me any more than he cares about you. He doesn't do things for me that he won't do for you. And so if you're kind of feeling like maybe God's not that interested in you, and yeah, that's fine, Angie, that he does it for you, but he'd never do it for me. I just want to tell you, you're wrong. You're so wrong. God loves you so much. And I want you to know that today, that he loves you, and whatever you need, if you'll trust him for it, if you'll put your faith in him and commit your life to him, he'll take care of you. He is the best husband of all. That's the thing. The whole time I was single, I was never without a husband, because God, he's been my husband. Even when I was married to my first husband, God was my husband. In my marriage with Marvin, God is my husband. He takes care of me, and I have learned to trust him. And I just want you to know that you can trust him too. All right. I love you guys. Just a little unplanned something there. I hope you guys have a great day. If you haven't subscribed, I would love if you enjoy these, if you would subscribe. Leave me comments, prayer requests, hit the notification bell so you know when the next one comes up tomorrow. But you guys have a great day. Blah, blah, blah. I just is what I is. And I'll talk to you later. All right. Bye-bye. Maybe bye.